Hello, my delicious co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in Toulouse, in France, with Dr. Jean-Jacques Charbonier, that is author and anesthesist, and in the reanimation room. Yes, I also do conferences and write books. Yes, it's starting to really be a phenomenon. We often see you on TV and radio. You wrote many books, including this one, the seven good reasons to believe in the afterlife, from Daniel edition, publisher here in France, that is courageous to share all this information. It is essential, especially right now. And testimonials like yours of life after death, especially from a scientific background, your testimonials are essential. Yes, I really think that it's time to shake up the palm tree, and because the materialism scientific point of view is time to be shaken up. So it's very important that publishers like Daniel, publisher, can share this information. I'm only one piece of the puzzle to share those testimonials. But those to me are very, very important. It's not really those that have lived those experiences of death. Yes, I'm really interested for many reasons, and especially coming from you, it's very courageous to come out and to talk in front of your colleagues and in the hospital about this. Well, no, not really courageous. It would be courageous if I would face a fear, but here I'm not fearful about telling all this. I would be really uncomfortable not to speak about it, because now it's such an evidence. And it continues to be difficult to communicate this, but personally I do this very naturally, and with colleagues, and the nurses and the doctors know, and they help, and very often somebody will let me know, a doctor that should go and visit a patient because they had such an experience. So all those testimonials that were put on the side now are really being known. It's time to take off that veil, and those testimonials, we cannot deny them anymore. Well, before, yeah, there's been so many testimonials. Why have we been dismissed? Yes, there's so many, and we can see that reading all the way back to Platon, we can see that they've always existed. And all those testimonials have always existed since the man is the man. But the only thing has been that, especially from the beginning of this century, it's been impossible to communicate about it. Those experiences of death. Tell us, how did you see that this was happening? Because you're coming from a scientific background, is very rigorous, and there's a certain way of thinking that is very logical and rational, and now we're talking of the intangible and the immeasurable. So how did you? Yes, I can tell you one thing. I was dumb. I was really dumb at the end of my studies. I was really sure that we were, once we're dead, there was nothing. And one day I had an experience really extraordinary that changed my life. From that experience, I came as a dumb, really a dumb person from all those studies that were really brainwashing me in a certain way. And then I had this experience, and then I started to be interested in psychic, and so I became less dumb, and little by little I start to understand how they work. I still don't understand exactly how it works, but I question it, and that is the open mind, when we start to question how things really work, because we don't have to believe in this materialism. Well, talking of this experience in itself, I was studying, I was going to become a doctor, and I I found myself on location with a deathful accident, and there was somebody that was stuck in their car, and that person was stuck in the car. And here I really had to help him, but unfortunately I had not much experience and I didn't succeed. Unfortunately, happened what happened, he died. But I saw in his eyes the pupil, the black part of the eye just slowly opening up like ink. I felt his presence, and I felt the presence coming out from the top of his head, and I just was quietly coming on the side of my face, and I could feel the joy and something really real. And now a lot of people talk about it. But at that moment, I thought of this book, The Life After Life, from Raymond Maudit, and I just saw how, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I'm seeing right now. And after death, people still continue to live, and I was right there, testimonial of a death. And later on, a lot of testimonials have come to me from other people telling me that they saw some smoke coming out of the body, some feeling, presence, the coming out of the body at the time of death. And all this cannot be hallucination, because the brain is perfectly oxygenated. And before we could say that it was part of, people were saying that it was just hallucination and the brain was not functioning well, but here there's a lot of testimonials. There's 4% of the population that have, it's 12 million of Americans, 2.8 million of French people. There's a lot of people that have experienced this. And today we should, as practitioners and scientists, and being there to help them, we should be able to record those so that we can analyze them and scientifically analyze them rationally, without seeing or thinking that it's hallucination, but just record them as they are. Because nothing is more horrible for somebody that just lived that not to be able to communicate after a near-death experience. And so everybody should be aware of that. All the doctors around these people waking up from general anesthesia after an operation, they should be able to talk. I guess that from little by little, you came from scientific materialism science to quantum science. Yes, yes, materialism science is really going off the roof, well, totally being blown up now, because we're seeing how in those states our consciousness is working and even more aware. Once we're liberated and we're able to expand and we can travel through time and space, because these people are also able to describe what's happening outside of their body in other rooms, and they can also go from one room to another, and sometimes kilometers from the operation room or the hospital room. And then we were able to, of course, around the world, check that these were real and happening. So it's not because we cannot explain scientifically that it doesn't exist yet. A lot of people say it's not possible, but no. We should start looking at change our way of thinking, and science can change too and evolve. Yes, I think the best way for a scientist to behave is to try to integrate new things, even though if they don't exactly understand, and then from there try to bring it in science. It shouldn't stop and block because that phenomenon doesn't enter in its principles and dogmas. It doesn't mean this phenomenon doesn't exist. No, it shouldn't really work that way. And so we also see it when people are in coma. Not only near-death experience, but also in coma. I guess you have a lot of coma testimonials as well, people that share experiences. Do you see some commonalities in all of this? We often hear of tunnels and of light and of ecstasy. Well, the testimonials of coma is different. I would differentiate the near-death experiences where the heart stops, and now we can have the proof that 15 seconds after the heart stops, the brain still works. And we can also differentiate those from comas. Most of the time in coma, there is less than 5% of people that experience those. We don't know why, but that's what we've noticed.
Near-death experience,
but the near-death experience,
NDE, near-death experience ou expérience de mort imminente. Alors moi je les appelle plus comme ça puisque
I don't really call them this way anymore because now it's proven that the brain doesn't work anymore. So all the people that come back from their heart being stopped, they were clinically dead, but in 18 to 20%, they will tell and they will explain what happened.
Elle nous raconte ce qui s'est passé.
Racontez-nous ce qui s'est passé.
Tell us what happened. Well, most of the time it's always the same. The people come out of their body, they see what's happening around them, most of the time at distance, and then they leave the mental, the analytical brain, and then they are not able anymore to say exactly where they're located in time and space. They go through this tunnel and they're 100% in intuitive conscious, and they are able to do premonition, intuition, telepathy. They're able to have divine visualization and the tunnel. That's more for the religious people. Yes. Well, it's more the spirituality rather than religion. Most people experience they do experience. What do you mean by spiritual? Let's define it right there. There's quite a lot of negativity around it in France, for example. What do you mean by that? Well, spirituality, different than the religion or cults or dogmas, doesn't need dogmas, doesn't need any social rules or hierarchy. Be in the spirituality is being connected to the universe, the whole universe, and feeling part of it. It is, you're connected to all the cosmic forces and telluric forces. You are the big whole, you are everything. And from that moment, when you're disconnected from an analytical brain, you're in the intuition, and then you're able to receive a lot of information. But these people that come back, they feel that they're living through those principles, and they feel unlimited once they experience NDE. Yes. They feel that their consciousness expand. And then when they come back, they feel shrinked because their consciousness is much smaller all of a sudden in the body. One of them said, I just knew everything up then in the light, but now nothing. Once they're in the divine light, and there is loved ones that come and guides, spiritual guides, and sometimes divinities. But no, they tell them that you have to come back.
terriblement nostalgique.
And that,
Alors,
at
c'est
that
un petit peu
moment,
vexant
they're
pour nous
after
parce
when
que
they come back, they're
on est très
very
triste de voir
nostalgia.
nos proches
They
partir.
don't want
On
really
est très
to
triste
come
de les
back on
voir
Earth, and
aller
for us, it's hard as
vers
humans
la
because
mort. On pense
we
que
don't
c'est
want
terminé,
them
la plupart du temps,
to go
on
to
pense
death
que
because
que
we
vous n'avez
think
plus
it's
rien, qu'on n'aura plus de
finished,
contact.
and then we
Alors
won't
que
have any more
on voit maintenant
contact.
que des contacts
But
sont
now we
possibles,
see
elle a
that
disparu, donc
also
ça,
those
c'est
contacts
une
are
autre,
possible.
une autre thématique,
But that
les
would be
contacts
another
médiumniques.
topic
Mais je pense que la
of another
médiumnité fait
video
partie
on the
intégrante de
psychic. But
l'expérience.
I think
D'ailleurs,
psychic
les gens qui vivent cette
experiences are
expérience
really
sont médiums. Ils voient les entités
is
d'âme évoluer.
really
Ils
a full
voient
part of this
un
near-death
proche
experience,
disparu
and
qui doit les accueillir,
they
une
will
mère,
see
un fils,
death
ou quelqu'un
ones,
qu'ils ne connaissaient
people
même pas.
that are
Ça,
sometimes
c'est
people
intéressant.
that they didn't even know.
L'expérience de
For
ce jeune
example,
qui voit
the experience of
une entité qui
this
vient, qui l'accueille,
young
qui
man
ne le reconnaît pas,
that
qui ne
has an
connaît pas,
entity that
et
comes
qui
and
ensuite, une
welcomes
fois
him, and
revenu
then
dans son
once
corps,
coming back in
s'aperçoit
his
que cette
body, then
entité
he
qui s'est
realizes that
présentée,
this
c'est
entity
l'ancien petit ami de
was
sa
the
compagne actuelle qui est parti d'un accident de
boyfriend
moto. Donc, il l'a reconnu,
that was
donc
part
c'est
of
bien la
this
preuve que de l'autre
this
côté,
motorbike
les
accident.
entités
So
attendent
from the other side, that's a proof
sont là
that on
pour
the other side,
montrer
there's
quelque
entities
chose.
that are here to
C'est
help
une
us.
âme, c'est ce que vous voulez dire?
What do you mean by
Oui,
entity?
c'est une âme, c'est une
Yes, entity
reconnaissance
is another
de la
soul.
personne qui
It's
était
it's
vivante
a
sur le chemin
remembering.
terrestre et qui est
It's
reconnue de l'autre côté.
it's
Avec une apparence physique.
recognizing
L'apparence
somebody with
qui était
with
celle
the
de son
physical
vivant au
appearance
moment
that
où
was
il
the
était
same
sur
as
Terre.
during
Et avec
its
donc une
Earth
communication la
life.
plupart du temps par télépathie.
And so most of the time, those
Cela
are
montre sur notre
telepathic
cerveau, sur
conversations.
notre-
What
sur
does
les
that
pensées.
show us about
Ça
our
montre que le
brain
cerveau
and
ne
our
connaît
way
même
of
pas
thinking?
grand-chose.
Well, it
Et que
shows us
tous les
that the brain
contacts,
is
Ça va
not
vexer
much.
certains.
Some
oui,
people
les
are not going to be
contacts,
too
c'est vrai.
happy about that.
D'ailleurs,
Well,
on en utilise très peu.
yes, we
Mais
use a
ça
very
montre
small
que le
part of our
cerveau nous joue des
brain,
tours.
and it
Par
really
exemple,
tricks
certains
us.
chercheurs ont montré
Some
qu'en stimulant une
scientific
zone
researchers
bien
have
particulière du
showed that
cerveau qui
if we
s'appelle le
really
cerveau étrangulaire,
stimulate
qui
a
est
certain
qui est
part
ici
of the
là,
brain,
entre le
right
lobe
there,
pariétal et frontal droit, et on arrivait
we
à reproduire
would able
des
to be able to
impressions de sortie de corps.
reproduce
Mais c'est une
similar
vision autoscopique externe, c'est une
experience,
hallucination.
but just
Ça
an
n'a rien à voir
hallucination of the
avec la
near-death
sortie de
experience.
corps
But it has
réelle.
nothing to do
Parce
with
que
the
les gens
real
qui font la
one,
sortie de corps
because
réelle,
the people
ils
that
sont non
do
seulement
real
capables de voir leur
out-of-body
corps
experiences are
dans
able to see
l'expérience comme
their
s'ils étaient dessus
body
dessous
as
sur
they
le côté,
were
mais aussi ce qui se passe à
above,
distance
underneath,
de
or
leur
on the
corps.
side, but they
Et
can
ça,
also see
aucune
outside of
stimulation
their
cérébrale
body
est
in
capable de
other
reproduire
places.
ça.
And
On peut vous stimuler
no
par exemple une
brain
zone bien précise du
stimulation
cerveau et vous
can
pouvez
be
avoir l'impression
get
qu'on vous touche
something
la
close to
culture
that.
de l'index droit par exemple. Je dis n'importe quoi, mais c'est vrai. Donc notre cerveau nous
So
joue des
our
tours.
brain can
Et
trick us,
tout
and
ne s'explique pas
not
par
everything
le
can be
cerveau. La
explained
conscience, c'est
through our
beaucoup plus
brain. The
important
consciousness
que
is
cette
much bigger
explication neurale,
that
d'échange
this
biochimique entre deux neurones.
neuro
La preuve,
explanation.
c'est que cette femme qui s'appelle Pamela Reynolds, qui a
Pamela
été
Reynolds,
donc
for example,
opérée du cerveau
was
pendant
operated,
plus d'une heure
brain
30, on a
operated,
arrêté
and
sa
for an
circulation
hour
cérébrale,
and 30 minutes, the
on a
circulation in her
refroidi son
brain was
cerveau à 15
stopped,
degrés
and
5 à
then
cette
we
température, aucune possibilité
we
d'avoir le moindre
cold,
échange
we
biochimique
froze
entre deux neurones, et pourtant, elle a
her brain,
décrit
and
toutes ses
yet
interventions.
she
La
could
musique, instrumentale
describe
que
all
que
her the
Charbonnier,
experience,
avait mis.
Oui, oui, les
and she
instruments
could
qu'elle a
describe the
utilisés, la
music, the
conversation qui avait
instruments,
eu lieu entre le cardiologue qui
the
était là
material that was
et
used, and the
l'entourage.
conversation between
Donc
the
tout
doctors,
ça,
everything.
quand même, montre bien que lorsque
It
le cerveau
shows
s'éteint,
really that even when the
notre
brain
conscience continue. Elle
stops,
est encore plus
the
performante que
consciousness,
lorsqu'elle est
and
allumée.
it's even more,
Un petit peu comme un poste de
it's
télévision, en
improved
fait.
actually when
Nous,
the brain stops.
on a
A little bit
l'impression,
like
enfin je dis,
a
pas moi,
television
mais
set.
la majorité de mes collègues scientifiques
A
ont
lot of my
l'impression
colleagues,
que le
scientific
programme
colleagues,
est fabriqué par le poste de télévision.
a lot of
Alors
think
que
that the program
lorsque
is
le
created by
programme,
the television,
lorsque la télé plutôt est éteinte,
when
le
the
programme
TV
continue. Là, c'est pareil. Lorsque le
TV
cerveau
is
est éteint,
similar for the brain.
la
Sorry,
conscience continue.
the
Donc il faut
the
dépasser
consciousness
cette
just
vision
continues
matérialiste
even
de
though
la
when
conscience
the TV set
neuronale.
is off.
Je dirais qu'il y a une conscience extraneuronale.
There is a
Notre
consciousness
très beau
outside of
témoignage
that.
récemment de Anita Moriani qui habite à
I've
Hong Kong,
interviewed
justement,
recently
vous interviewé,
Anita
je vous ai envoyé
Moriani,
le
our
lien
near-death
aussi,
experience,
c'est
and I
magnifique,
sent you the
c'est une
link. It's
vidéo
such a
qui a été
beautiful
buzzée
video
à
and interview
250 000 vues à travers le
that is
monde et
being
qui
seen
explique
by
cette
over
femme qui a eu
250,000
un
people
cancer,
around the world, and she had a
un cancer
cancer.
avec plus de 36 heures à
She
vivre,
only
et
had
puis qui a eu cette
36
expérience et
hours
qui est
to
revenue
live,
en moins de
and then she
4
had
jours,
this
elle
near-death
avait
experience, and then 4
aucune
days
de ses
later, she
tumeurs,
had
les 21
nearly no
tumeurs
more
étaient
tumors
parties, et c'est
left
dissoute,
in
donc
her
il y a même
body.
une espèce de
So So there is, did you notice also that there was this automatic healing that happens from those experiences, that can happen after those experiences?
expérience de mort projetée.
Yes, that's
C'est quelque chose d'assez nouveau.
yes, this is quite new, and yes, there's a lot of healing, automatic healing that are more and more common now
Première chimiothérapie,
and
toujours
known, and
pareil.
people
Deuxième
tell.
chimiothérapie, toujours pareil. Troisième chimiothérapie, toujours pareil. Quatrième chimiothérapie, plus rien. Il avait une métastase.
Same thing for another patient that had the chemotherapy 4 times, and the 4th time, nothing
Le chirurgien,
nothing left, and so
trompé de malade.
the scientist even thought that there was,
Je vais le voir.
he thought he was a different patient. And so I went to him and asked
Et il
him
me
what
dit,
went on, and
je
he
savais
said,
que j'allais guérir. Il
well,
était
I knew that I was
Je
going to
priais tous les
heal,
jours.
and I would
Je
pray
priais
every
pas pour moi,
day.
je priais pour les autres.
I would pray
Il y a une
for
chose qu'il
others,
m'a
not
dit
for me,
jamais,
but for
et je crois que
others.
c'est ça qui m'a rendu malade.
And he
Je
said,
n'écoutais jamais le 20h.
I would
Je
never
n'écoutais pas les
listen
informations
to the
à la télévision, je
information,
crois que c'est ça qui rend malade.
to
Mais
the
bon, il avait
news,
trouvé
because
un
that
moyen de
really
se
got me
soigner
sick.
par la spiritualité,
And I
par la
really,
psyché.
so he
Donc,
found a way
semblerait
to
que
heal
la
himself through
psyché est
spirituality.
capable de nous rendre malades,
And
mais aussi de
so
nous
through
guérir.
thoughts, we
Donc,
can
ça,
make
ça va
ourselves
côté
sick,
aussi.
but we can also heal ourselves.
Après, je trouve à l'utiliser.
I think we should really, it's time to learn all of these. There's so much bigger intelligence outside of us, and sometimes we're arrogant that we know. Yes,
On a un manque d'humilité.
we should be more
Surtout nous,
humble,
les
especially us,
médecins, je dirais,
the medicine, the
chirurgiens.
doctors.
J'ai discuté avec un chirurgien.
I was talking with a doctor earlier,
La
and
maladie,
for him,
un organe qui est
the
malade, il faut le
disease
réparer,
is
puis
a
point, c'est
is a
tout.
part of the body
Mais
that is sick,
ça va pas plus loin.
but it just
Je pense
stops
qu'on doit aller
there.
beaucoup
I
plus loin.
really do think that we should
Un
go
cancer,
much
c'est
further
comme un
than
voyant
that.
rouge qui
A
s'allume quelque
cancer
part
is
pour dire que
like
ça va
a
pas. Et nous,
red
qu'est-ce qu'on
button
fait?
at
On
something
enlève le
doesn't
voyant
go
rouge.
well.
Donc
And
la
what we do is that we
chimiothérapie, la
just turn
radiothérapie,
off that red button
la chirurgie.
through operation or
Et
chemotherapy, but we
indépendant
don't
qu'après,
really
un
solve the
autre voyant
problem.
rouge
And so another
s'allume.
one then later
Parce
on
qu'on n'a
will
pas réglé le problème.
get,
Il
another
faut
red button will turn on.
se servir de toutes ces
We have to
médecines
learn
holistiques,
to
dites
use
alternatives,
alternative
qui
medicine,
devraient
holistic
travailler avec nous
medicine that should be
en
working in
complémentarité.
collaboration.
C'est un mot important.
Very,
Parce que des
very
fois, on a tendance
important.
d'être
Sometimes
l'un
we
ou
go
l'autre.
one way or
C'est pas
another.
une
Yes.
substitution,
No,
ni
it's
dans
not
un
to
sens, ni dans l'autre. Il faut
substitute
qu'on
one
travaille
way
ensemble.
or
Il faut qu'on
another.
arrive
It's
à
about
travailler
working
ensemble.
together.
Il faut arrêter
It would
de
be
se
great
substituer,
that
de se garder,
we
quoi.
could
Parce que
work together.
c'est au détriment du patient.
It's
Il faut que le
really
patient soit
otherwise
bénéficiaire des
for
de
for the
la
patients
chirurgie, telle qu'on l'a conçue à
bad.
l'hôpital, et puis aussi
We really need
d'autres façons de voir les choses,
to
de
work
médecine
together and
alternative.
collaborate.
Et,
What
si vous
else?
avez besoin de
Tell
prendre
us
au-delà.
7 reasons to believe in afterlife. Is there other things that you would like to share?
J'ai écrit
Well, I wrote this book in
parce
French
qu'il correspond en
because
fait à une demande.
a lot of people
À la
want
fin
to know.
de mes conférences,
At the end of
les
the
gens
conferences
venaient me voir
I
et
do,
me
when I
disaient,
speak,
docteur,
people would
j'aimerais
come and
acheter un
say,
livre
I would love to buy a
des
book
gens,
for
enfin, pour une
people,
personne en particulier,
for
c'est
especially a
mon
person that I
ma
know,
maman,
my
quelqu'un qui est pas
mother
du tout
or
ouvert à ces
partner,
choses-là.
that is not
Et
open to
j'aimerais
these things, and I would love
un livre qui soit simple
to
et pas
share
du
a
tout
simple book that is not too
limité.
scientific
Et
and
ce
that I
livre
can
n'était pas
easily
fait.
share with
Donc,
anyone. And this
je me
book
suis mis au
was
travail et
not
j'ai écrit ce livre,
done
Les
yet,
7
so I
bonnes
wrote
raisons
this
de croire
book.
à l'au-delà. En sous-titre, le livre à offrir aux sceptiques et aux
It's the
détracteurs,
book
parce que j'avais
to offer
envie,
to
sur
the
toutes ces
skeptics,
années, de leur
because I
répondre
really
une fois
wanted
pour toutes
once
à
and for
leurs
all
sempiternels
reply
arguments. Ils ont toujours
to
les mêmes qui
the
reviennent.
same
Donc j'avais envie de
arguments
régler ça.
that
Donc
they
ça se
always
fait de façon
say. So I
originale,
wanted
avec des questions-réponses
to
par
fix
rapport
that
aux
and
aux
reply
sceptiques
to
et aux
those
détracteurs, parce qu'il
answers,
faut
those
que,
common
une
answers
fois
and
que ce livre sera
criticism
lu,
about near-death
il ne
experience.
faut pas le mettre dans la bibliothèque.
And
Moi,
I
les
really
éditeurs
say
n'aiment pas trop que je
to
fasse
other
ça.
people
Il
that
faut le donner à
you have
quelqu'un.
to share it
Voilà.
and give it to
On me
another. You
vend le
don't
livre, mais
leave
c'est
that
pas... Voilà. Ce qui est important
on the
pour moi,
shelves.
c'est
It doesn't matter. It sells
que
this
les
book,
idées soient
but it's
diffusées
important
plus
that
largement
the
possible.
ideas
C'est pour ça
actually
que
are
mes conférences sont
shared.
toujours,
That's why all my
je
conferences
refuse jamais qu'on
are.
filme ou quoi que ce soit.
I
Je suis pas
never
du tout
say
dans le
no
business.
to that
Je
they
veux
film.
que
I'm
les
not
idées
into the
soient
business of
diffusées
it. I
par
just
les
want that
personnes. Et
people
moi, je ne
share
suis qu'un
these
maillon de la chaîne,
ideas,
en
and
fait,
I'm
hein.
only a piece of the
Il n'y a
puzzle
pas
in all
quelqu'un de plus
this.
important que
There
d'autres,
is
mais
nobody that
ça
is more
commence à bouger.
important.
J'ai
It
des
really
témoignages
starts
de médecins
to
qui
shake
me
up and
filment en
move
me disant
forward
je suis
now.
médium, mais je suis médecin, mais
Some
il m'est
people now
interdit
and
d'en
doctors
parler.
start to
Donc
let
peut-être
me
qu'on
know
va
that they're
commencer à parler.
psychic, and so
Je
maybe we're
suis
going to
médecin,
start
mais
to
je suis
speak
aussi
about this.
guérisseur. Je
And
soigne
some
les
other
gens.
doctors are
Je
starting
ne
to
peux pas
say
le
they're
dire,
also
parce que
healers,
sinon le
but they can't
consultologue
say it,
va
otherwise they
interdire
would not be
l'exercice
able to
professionnel.
practice
Donc
anymore
tout
their
ça va
being
changer.
a
Je crois
doctor.
que
So, but
ça
all this is
s'accélère.
changing and
C'est
things
comme
are accelerating.
une
2012 is like
une porte d'entrée vers un
a
autre
door
monde, quoi.
to
Les
another
technologies ont
world.
changé, mais
people say we're going to change, but I really think and feel that the world is changing and we're going towards objectives that are way more human and where we're going to be able to share and helping others. I think human beings have progress, and it's quite visible now.
C'est un très beau message pour finir.
Yes, this is a beautiful message to finish this, to conclude this interview. Thank you so much for this moment. It's really awesome. We're here in the reanimation room and everything is happening here. Yeah, we're here right now. Today we're here and tomorrow we'll be in another present moment. Bye, thank you. Much love from Toulouse in France. Bye.